Picture this. In the heart of America's bustling suburbs or the foggy streets of London's outskirts, a father's unbreakable bond is tested when ruthless kidnappers snatch his little girl right from under his nose. Oblivious that he's no ordinary dad, but a battle-hardened Navy SEAL with skills that could dismantle empires. If edge-of-your-seat thrillers packed with high-stakes action, jaw-dropping twists, and raw justice get your blood pumping like nothing else, smash that subscribe button right now. Join thousands across the USA and UK who crave stories that hit harder than a SEAL's strike, and never miss a beat. In the sweltering heat of a late summer afternoon in Atlanta, Georgia, where the air hung heavy with the scent of magnolias and barbecue smoke drifting from backyard grills, Marcus Johnson wiped the sweat from his brow as he watched his 10-year-old daughter, Lily, skip along the cracked sidewalk toward their modest two-story home. Her backpack slung carelessly over one shoulder, filled with crayons, half-eaten snacks, and dreams of becoming a veterinarian just like the ones she saw on TV. Marcus, a towering figure at 6'4" with skin the color of rich ebony and muscles forged from years of grueling Navy SEAL training, had retired 5 years ago after 2 decades of service that took him to the shadowed corners of the world. Places like the deserts of Iraq, the jungles of Colombia, and the frozen tundras of Afghanistan, where he learned to kill silently, survive impossibly, and protect the innocent at all costs. But now he lived a quieter life as a security consultant, cherishing the simple joys of fatherhood after losing his wife to cancer 3 years prior. A loss that left a void only Lily could fill with her infectious laughter and curious questions about the stars. As Lily approached the corner where the school bus had dropped her off, a nondescript white van idled nearby, its engine humming like a predator in wait, and in a blur of motion that shattered the suburban peace, 2 masked men burst from the sliding door, one grabbing Lily by the arm while the other clamped a chloroform-soaked rag over her mouth, her muffled screams lost in the fabric as they dragged her inside, the van screeching away before anyone could react, leaving behind only her dropped backpack and a single pink hair clip glinting in the sun. Marcus, who had been inside the house preparing dinner. A ritual of grilled chicken and mac and cheese, Lily's favorite, felt an inexplicable chill run down his spine, the kind honed by instincts that saved his life countless times in hostile territories, and when he stepped out to greet her and saw the abandoned backpack, his world tilted on its axis, rage igniting like a fuse in his chest as he pieced together the nightmare unfolding. Without hesitation, he dialed his old SEAL buddy, Ramirez, now a private investigator in Miami, barking orders into the phone while his mind raced through protocols drilled into him. Assess, plan, execute. The Kidnappers, a ragtag crew led by Viktor Kuznetsov, a Russian expat with ties to human trafficking rings that spanned from Eastern Europe to the underbelly of American cities, had targeted Lily thinking Marcus was just another working-class black man in a rough neighborhood, easy prey for a quick ransom or worse, unaware that his unassuming exterior hid a lethal arsenal of skills, from hand-to-hand combat that could disarm a man in seconds to sniper precision that dropped targets from a mile away. Victor, with his scarred face and cold blue eyes, operated out of an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, where he and his 4 accomplices, 2 burly enforcers named Boris and Dmitri, a tech-savvy hacker called Lena, and a sleazy driver known as Snake, held Lily in a dimly lit room, her wrists bound with zip ties, tears streaming down her face as she whispered pleas for her daddy, but Victor laughed it off, dialing Marcus's number from a burner phone to demand $5 million within 48 hours, his accent thick as he sneered. "Your little girl is safe for now, but if you involve the cops, she'll end up in pieces floating down the Chattahoochee." Marcus, his voice steady as steel despite the storm inside, agreed to the terms but immediately sprang into action, grabbing his go-bag from the attic, a black duffel stuffed with suppressed pistols, knives, night vision goggles, and encrypted comms gear left over from his SEAL days, while Ramirez hacked into traffic cams to trace the van's license plate to a dummy registration, leading them to a trail of breadcrumbs that pointed toward the warehouse district. As night fell, Marcus moved like a ghost through the shadows, his dark clothing blending with the urban decay, scaling fences and avoiding security lights with the ease of a man who had infiltrated terrorist compounds under heavier guard. His mind flashing back to a mission in Somalia where he rescued hostages from pirates, the memory fueling his resolve as he neared the warehouse. Overhearing Victor boasting to his crew about how easy this score would be. The father's just some nobody, probably scraping by on welfare. Black guy in the hood? What can he do? The irony burned in Marcus's ears as he planted a small drone outside, its camera feeding live footage to his phone, showing Lily huddled in a corner, brave but terrified, and that's when the first twist hit. Among the kidnappers, Marcus recognized Snake, the driver, as Eddie Harlan, a former Navy recruit who washed out of BUD/S training years ago, bitter and resentful toward Marcus for being the one who pushed him during Hell Week, leading to his dropout, and now Eddie had fallen into crime, seeking revenge by targeting the daughter of the man he blamed for his failures. Marcus's jaw clenched, realizing this wasn't random but personal, a vendetta wrapped in opportunism, and he adjusted his plan accordingly, deciding to exploit the internal fractures. Slipping inside through a rusted vent, Marcus took out Boris first, a silent chokehold that left the big man slumped in the hallway, then Dmitri with a precise knife throw to the throat, blood gurgling quietly as he collapsed. Lena, the hacker, was next, her screams cut short by a taser to the neck. But as Marcus approached the main room where Victor held Lily at gunpoint, Eddie spotted him on the monitors, yelling a warning that sparked a furious firefight, bullets ricocheting off metal beams as Marcus dove for cover, returning fire with deadly accuracy, clipping Victor's shoulder and sending him reeling. Lily, seeing her father, screamed, "Daddy!" which distracted Eddie long enough for Marcus to tackle him, the two men grappling in a brutal hand-to-hand brawl that echoed their past. Marcus's superior training prevailing as he dislocated Eddie's arm and knocked him unconscious with a headbutt. But just as Marcus freed Lily and scooped her into his arms, racing toward the exit, another twist unfolded. Victor, bleeding but not down, triggered a hidden explosive device wired to the warehouse, the building shaking as flames erupted, forcing Marcus to improvise an escape through a collapsing corridor, shielding Lily with his body as debris rained down. They burst out into the night air, coughing and singed, but safe, with Ramirez pulling up in a black SUV for extraction. Sirens wailing in the distance as the warehouse burned. Yet the story didn't end there, for as Marcus tended to Lily in a safe house, nursing her scrapes and reassuring her with stories of his SEAL adventures toned down for her ears, he received an anonymous email with coordinates to a remote cabin in the Appalachians, hinting that Victor wasn't the mastermind but a pawn in a larger syndicate, led by a shadowy figure known only as the Ghost, a former CIA operative turned rogue who had crossed paths with Marcus during a botched op in Afghanistan, where Marcus's team exposed his corruption, leading to his disgrace and vow of revenge. The email included a photo of Lily taken weeks before the kidnapping, proving surveillance had been ongoing, and Marcus realized the grab was meant to draw him out, to settle old scores in a game of cat and mouse that spanned continents. With Lily safely with her aunt in a protected location, Marcus geared up once more, calling in favors from his old SEAL unit. Now scattered but loyal brothers like Ramirez, a demolitions expert named Hicks, and a sniper called Eagle Eye, who rallied for what they dubbed Operation Phantom Hunt. They tracked the Ghost to a fortified compound in the mountains, a labyrinth of bunkers and armed guards funded by illicit arms deals, and under the cover of a thunderstorm, they infiltrated Marcus, leading the charge with suppressed MP5 in hand, taking down patrols with non-lethal tranks to avoid alerting the main force. Inside, they discovered not just the Ghost, a wiry man in his 50s with a scarred face and piercing green eyes, but evidence of a broader conspiracy. Files linking him to politicians in Washington and London, trafficking networks that exploited vulnerable communities, including black families like Marcus's, for profit and power, and a plot to assassinate a whistleblower who could expose it all. The twist deepened when Marcus confronted the Ghost in his command center, the man revealing that Lily wasn't just bait. She shared a rare blood type that matched a high-profile client's need for an illegal organ transplant, turning the kidnapping into a horrifying medical black market scheme, and worse, the Ghost had a mole in Marcus's circle, someone close who fed him intel. Suspicion fell on Ramirez at first, but it was Hicks, the demo guy, driven by gambling debts and coerced by the Ghost's threats against his own family, who confessed in a tearful betrayal during the raid, forcing Marcus to subdue him non-lethally amid the chaos. Gunfire erupted as guards swarmed, Eagle Eye picking them off from a ridge while Marcus dueled the Ghost in a savage knife fight, blades clashing in the dim light, the ghost taunting. You seals think you're heroes, but you're just tools. Black, white, doesn't matter, expendable. Marcus, fueled by paternal fury and justice, disarmed him with a swift move, pressing the knife to his throat and forcing a surrender, but not before the ghost triggered a self-destruct sequence, the compound rumbling. As explosions chained through the tunnels, Marcus dragged the ghost out, the team escaping by helicopter just as the mountain swallowed the base in fire and rock, documents secured on a drive that would topple empires. Back home, as dawn broke over Atlanta, Marcus reunited with Lily, hugging her tightly as she asked, "Daddy, are the bad men gone?" And he nodded, though he knew shadows lingered. In the aftermath, the FBI took over, using the files to dismantle the syndicate, arrests rolling across the US and UK where the ghost's tendrils reached into corrupt officials and trafficking rings preying on minorities. Marcus, hailed quietly as a hero in classified circles, returned to his life, but with newfound vigilance, teaching Lily self-defense moves and cherishing every moment, the twists of betrayal, conspiracy, and redemption forging him stronger. Yet one final twist awaited. Months later, a package arrived at his door, containing a locket that belonged to his late wife, lost during her illness, with a note saying, "Debts paid, ghosts buried," signed by Hicks, who had turned state's evidence and vanished into witness protection, a reminder that even in darkness, loyalty and forgiveness could emerge. And as Marcus placed the locket around Lily's neck, the sun setting on another day, he whispered, "We're unbreakable, kiddo," closing the chapter on a saga of a father's love, a seal's wrath, and the unexpected paths that twists of fate carve through life.